welcome back to Love and Dubai show. And it's official, the latest UAE labor law states that private sector employees are entitled to 30 days off annually. And here to tell us more about what the rules are and what it means is lawyer Omar Heloo from Hadif and Partners. Welcome on the show.
Hi, thank you very much to having me again in Love and Dubai.
Yes, we had like our response and engagement was so much last time you came.
Thank you.
And you addressed so many questions and all of that. But first, you tell me before the show what your last name means. Hello.
It's Al-Heloo.
Al-Heloo.
Al-Heloo means sweet, beautiful, or handsome, you know. Al-Heloo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then what's halwa?
Halwa, it's sweet.
Okay.
Dessert.
Two words for
yeah,
sweet.
So, yeah.
I know my Arabic. But there's so many new UAE labor laws that came into effect this year, and they'll be coming into effect from February, right?
Yes, 2nd of February, inshallah.
Yes, so people have so many questions on that and so many like doubts. So we'll speak a little bit more about that as well. Now, could you please give us an overview of what the rules are exactly?
Actually, the labor law, there are a lot of rules has been implemented by the UAE government in the labor law and employment laws. I think we cannot cover them all today. So I think today it's important to discuss the rules of the holidays, the annual leaves.
Yes.
Because in terms of holidays, there are annual leaves, maternity leaves, parental leaves, study leaves, national service leave, and leave without a salary. So for the purpose of today, we will discuss the annual leaves. Based on the law, if your service period is more than 1 year and more, so you can entitled for minimum 30 calendar days.
Okay.
If your service more than 6 months and below 1 year, you are entitled for 2 days monthly.
Okay.
So
that doesn't include the weekends.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, it does include the weekends. So the weekends and any public holidays will be considered as a part of your annual leave. It has been changed now.
What?
Unless otherwise,
okay.
Your contract stipulated something else, which is more beneficial for the employees, or the executive regulation, which will be issued by the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization, stipulated also something more beneficial for the employees.
Okay, so there are lots of workers in the private sector now. For example, if you're working in the call center, if you work in customer service, they're required to work maybe 6 days a week. You know, like they have different shifts, different timings. Now, you're saying that they're entitled to 2 days off per month. Sorry, not 2 days off. 2 days off per week.
Depends on your services.
Depends on the services.
Separate between the weekends and the annual leaves.
Annual leaves, okay.
The weekends, minimum, the employees has entitled to get 1 rest day.
1 rest day.
Minimum.
Okay.
It could be increased for 2, 3, 4. It's up to the employer. The annual leaves, it's totally different. The annual leave, again, 30 calendar days yearly.
Okay.
If your service 1 year and more, if your service below 1 year, you are entitled, and more than 6 months, you are entitled for 2 days monthly.
Monthly, okay.
And you can take it after the probation period, which is maximum 6 months.
Okay.
And this is the practice, actually.
So now if you don't get the 30 days, if you don't use up all 30 days, can it carry over? That depends on company to company.
Yeah, exactly. You can carry it over. Basically, as per the law, the employer shall not prevent the employee to get his annual leave more than 2 years. The employee should take his leave on the yearly basis, but sometimes the nature of the work, the business needs, maybe require the employee to work for, whole year. But the employer cannot prevent the employee to benefit from his annual leave more than 2 years, unless otherwise the employee decided to carry it forward for more than 2 years, or get cash compensation for these annual leaves.
Okay, understood. Now, does this rule come into play when an employee is on a probation period or no?
It depends on the employer. So if the employer decided to grant the employee part of his annual leave before the 6 months ended, yeah, he can do this, and he can actually benefit from that. The employee, this is one of the difference actually. Nowadays, if the employee didn't pass the proportion period, he can get compensation for the annual leaves for the period that he worked with the employer.
Okay, okay, got
which is 2 days monthly. It will be proportioned, actually, will be calculated based on proportion.
And now employees can complain against their employer if they're getting anything less, or if they're not, if the companies, can the employee complain?
Yeah, of course.
So how do they complain?
They can file a complaint before the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization.
So what is the process for the complaint? Like, do they call, or do they have to visit the
there is, I think, there is a call center.
Yeah.
And you can also, by filing your complaint by online system with the Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratization. It's very easy, straightforward.
And the laws will be in their favor?
In terms of the annual leaves, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how does this affect part-time employees?
The part-time employees, again, it will be calculated based on the actual working hours.
Okay.
More details will be provided by the executive regulations, which has been actually signed and confirmed by the UAE cabinet last Friday.
Okay.
So maybe end of this week or the week after, we will have the full executive regulations, which will explain in more details the employment law to all employees and employers.
Okay.
And we can get more answers.
Okay, interesting. Now with sick leaves, right? Now, what is the law exactly with sick leaves?
Okay.
Have they changed?
Sick leave is different than annual leave.
Yeah.
Okay. The law has been changed. The employer can get 90 days. First 45 days will be with the full salary.
First 45 days.
45 sick leave.
Sick leave.
Yes.
Okay.
Then I think 30 days with half salary.
First 45 days with full salary.
Second, 30, then the
30 more days.
30 more days, half salary.
Half salary.
And the last, is it 15? No, 40 plus. So
70,
20, 75. I think, yeah, the last 15 days. Yeah, the last 15 days will be without salary.
Will be without salary. Okay, got it. So it's 90 days of sick leaves per year. So 45 days full pay, 30 days half pay, and then the last 15 no pay.
No pay.
Okay, that's interesting. Now companies that you know, sick leaves happen very like in the moment. You can't really plan your sick leaves. So a lot of companies have a thing like, okay, if you're taking a sick leave, you have to compensate for the day. You have to pay us. Like we're not going to be. It's not going to be a paid sick leave. Now, can employees complain?
Of course, the law is the law.
The law is
very clear on this part.
For part-time freelancers, full-time?
Part-time freelancers and any other kind of working, the executive regulations will stipulate and demonstrate how the sick leave will be applied to them.
Okay, that is so interesting. Yes. So you are well within your rights to complain against your employer if you are not getting a paid sick leave.
Yes.
That is so interesting.
Yes.
Now, how does the new rule take into account a business environment?
In terms of the annual leaves, you mean? I mean, if you submit an annual leave request to your employer, how the business environment will affect your application?
Yes, like if it's a, you know, like if it's a very, like that term, that Q3, like, you know what, each quarter has its own how things are going at the time, how busy the company is.
Yes.
So if the company is really busy, do they have the rights to say like, no, you can't, you're not granted this leave?
Yeah, the employer actually has a right to, based on the business nature, based on the business needs, actually do it like a schedule of leave for all his employees.
Okay.
Of course, the employer can reject your application, but his rejection should be based on a valid, acceptable reason. Which is actually related to the business needs.
Right.
If the employer actually provide or do like a schedule of leave for his employees, he should inform and notify the employee 30 days in advance about his leave.
Okay, okay.
So he cannot come today and said, okay, tomorrow's your leave. Anyway, no. He should inform you and notify you in advance 30 days before
30
the
days.
day, before the leave.
So some companies can even make a schedule of when they can approve. I mean, when each employee can go on leave.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yes.
Now, what happens if an employee ends up working during the annual leave? Is there any form of compensation?
Again, it's up to the internal policies of the company, and he should, of course, get a compensation of such day which he work on.
Okay, so
either another day off, or he can, if the internal policy, provide the employee to get a cash payment, it's fine.
Okay, that's interesting. Now I want to ask you a little bit about overtime, because a lot of employees
overtime, it's something else. And okay, the overtime, it has a specific calculation with it. Again, as per the law, you cannot work more than 8 hours a day.
Okay.
If you work more than 8 hours, you are entitled for
overtime
period. The overtime should not, I hope that I am correct here, should not be more than 2 hours a day.
Okay.
And you will be compensated for this extra hours. How this will be calculated? It will be 50% of your basic salary, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, interesting. So there is a form of compensation no matter what the percentage is.
Yes.
Okay. And all full-time employees are subject to this. I mean, they will be granted, it should be applicable to them. Okay. Yeah. That is so interesting. And I think a lot of people, like, we put it on our social media that you're joining us on the show, and they're like, oh my God, we got to get in our questions.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let's see.
Let me maybe filter out a few questions, because people go like crazy. It's like, oh, a lawyer, free lawyer advice.
Only employment now.
Okay, fine. We'll
no, I'm joking.
Okay, anything we can ask. Anything.
Any questions? If I don't know, I would say I don't know.
Okay, fine. So for golden visa holders, do we still require a work permit to work for semi-government organizations? Would you know anything about that?
What I know is that you should have a 5 years visa. You should spend 5 years in UAE, working in UAE, in order to apply for the golden visa. This is what I know. What is the other requirements? Of course, there are more other requirements, but because 2 days ago I've asked someone, he said you should work in UAE for at least 5 years to get a golden visa.
Okay.
Maybe I'm wrong. So check with the relevant authorities.
Gotcha. Now, how do foreign lawyers practice law in Dubai? Any requirements?
Yes. You have to apply to the Dubai Legal Affairs Department.
Dubai Legal Affairs Department.
Yes, and you have to submit your application there. They will assess your application, and if you are eligible, you can practice the law in the UAE. But you have to practice in a licensed law firm, either a local law firm or international law firm.
Okay, so people, like, even if I've gotten my degree from the UK or the US or India, Canada, anywhere, international lawyers, they have to come here and apply at this.
They should enroll or sign a contract with a licensed law firm in the UAE.
Law firm,
Then apply to the Legal Affairs Department to accept your application, and you will be one of the practicing lawyer in Dubai.
Interesting.
This is in Dubai.
In Dubai.
Okay.
Not other Emirates, specifically in Dubai.
Yeah.
Now, can I get 2 days off for a month? Is it against the law? Okay, so once someone asked,
this is a good question.
Mark Fernandez, can I get 2 days? And I only get 2 off for a month? Is it against the law or no?
2 days off a month.
Yeah.
It's against the law if his service period 1 year or more, because it's a 30 days a year divided by 12 is 2.5.
Yeah.
If his service below 1 year, more than 6 months, it's 2 days a month.
It's 2 days a month.
Yes.
So if he
depends on his service.
So if he works like less than a year, it's legal.
Less than a year,
so 6 months
legal.
to less than a year.
Yes.
And if he's working for a year or plus, it's illegal.
Yeah, because he should get a half monthly. So 2.5 days monthly.
Got it. Okay.
Got it? Great.
Get that, Mark?
And this is the minimum, huh?
Minimum.
Yes.
Mark asking the right questions. Okay, do you need to get a visa before you rent an apartment in Dubai?
I don't know.
No. Is it, this one's funny. Is it illegal if I use my neighbor's Wi-Fi?
This is a question. But how? Okay, if his neighbor actually put it without a password, so it's sort of gift. I don't think so.
Did you say it's sort of a gift?
I mean, in the law previously, if you use the electricity or taking water from your neighbor, it will be considered a crime.
Okay.
Using the Wi-Fi could be. Yes,
could be?
Could be.
Oh, yeah. So they can complain saying this person is using my Wi-Fi, but then...
But how come? I mean, how come if there is a password?
Okay, imagine I'm friends with my neighbor, go to the house, get the password, come back and use their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I mean, if you file a complaint against your neighbor,
yeah.
If I'm your neighbor, I will come and say, she consent by providing me with her passport and this is the WhatsApp, she sent me the password. So how shall she come now and complain?
Okay.
You see, it's case by case.
Interesting.
You know?
If they abuse the Wi-Fi, you know, like downloading a million things and getting
But the Wi-Fi has no limitation.
Okay,
you
right.
You can download
right.
whatever you want.
You can do whatever
But if you affect the speed of the Wi-Fi because you are watching, for example, a movie or whatever.
Streaming, yeah.
But still, it's practically speaking, be more practical, guys.
Okay, so this is interesting for marriage. Now, how do I sign a marriage contract that secures your future after a divorce? Someone's going into the marriage life thinking of divorce.
The UAE law protect both parties, the man and the woman, under the personal status law in terms of marriage and in terms of the divorce. So if you are now thinking about the marriage, please stick with the marriage. Don't think about the divorce. If you reach that level, then ask the question.
So, okay, what would you say, prenup, pro or against? Should you sign prenups? Is it always good and safe to sign?
Well, if you have a condition, if you have something you want to protect yourself, sign. I mean, you can stipulate in the marriage contract, it's fine under the UAE law. For example, if the lady want to work, she can stipulate in the marriage contract, say that the husband has no right to prevent the wife from working or from studying, or because it's a condition. The marriage, it's a contract.
Okay.
So you can stipulate whatever is acceptable by the UAE law.
Interesting. And if one of the parties breaches that, they can go to court
with it. Of
okay.
course, yes.
And going back to leaves, I want to ask about sabbatical leaves. Are companies entitled to give sabbatical leaves?
Yes.
Of how long?
It's up to the employer to decide.
Up to the employer to decide. Yes. But is there a minimum time period?
No minimum. It's up to your employer to say, okay, you have 1 month, you have 2 months, you have 1 year.
So the sabbatical
without salary at the end, you know.
Without salary.
Of course, sabbatical. How can you get
sabbatical or paid leaves? No, paid study leaves.
No, study leave is different than sabbatical.
Okay.
Study leave, you have 10 working days.
10 working days.
For study and to do the exams. Yes. Okay. But sabbatical is without, this is my understanding, sabbatical is without salary.
I'm sure you're right. Yeah. My bad. Thank you so much for clarifying all these rules and regulations for us. The UAE is undergoing a lot of changes. So with that, we have a lot of questions. You've addressed them. I'm sure we'll have many more in the future. So thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Yes.
Thanks.
Omar, Heloo, everyone. And that's all for today's show. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place.